Hi guys, welcome to 1UX1. Today we're talking about online courses and how you can create your first online course. Now, I'm going to be real here. It's really stressful even thinking about your first course. And if you've got a full-time job or you're busy with other things in life, it becomes a great challenge to think, how am I going to start? Where do I start? How am I going to get to actually one day have a live course? And that's the challenge that I also had. And I'm going to tell you how you can overcome that. So the first piece of advice I can give you about online courses is you need to be thinking about your subject area or your area of expertise or whatever you want to deliver on. Think about it from a really early stage. I mean, if you want to start, let's say next year, you start now and you start to take notes. So you start to use apps or use your phone, a notepad or anything like that, or even handwritten, and start to write down ideas. And they don't have to be in any particular order. Just start to write down ideas on themes that you want to cover, topics you want to cover, and just note them down as you go along. So that's the first point to start with, note taking. And the reason is that the whole iteration process, i.e. improving it, deciding what to take out, what to put in, all of that's going to come later. But having like a mind map and an open mind, what we call blue sky thinking, just constantly thinking, what could I add to this course? And there's no limits on what you can add. So I'll tell you one thing that will happen. When you start to add ideas, eventually they will become another course. So from the information that you actually put together, another course and another course and another idea will eventually lead to another course. For example, if you're let's say a photographer and you want to do a course on how to do landscape photography, but in there you start to see things that you write down about settings, camera settings, and then that itself becomes a separate course on camera settings, if you see what I mean. So that's what will actually happen. You'll start to find more. Now, you're not going to do all the courses at once. That's not going to happen. But what will happen is you'll start to get more ideas as you grow. Now, once you've written those down, I would say get either Microsoft Word or an online Google Docs and start to put these into what we call a thematic analysis. And it's easier to do it. You could do it on paper as well. You could do it on a big sheet and color code it. Or you could do it on Word. You could color code the words. That's what I normally do. And then you start to see chapters. Now, another cheat I can give you is you can look at other people's courses. And one of the places you can do that is Udemy or Udemy. I don't know how different people say it different ways. Udemy, and you can see the course outlines there. Now, do not copy those courses or their outline, but it's just to get an idea of how people lay it out. And what's really crucial here is the wording of your course itself, because when you are setting the titles, what you want to do is make sure they are easy to understand. So there's no need for technical words, there's no need for difficult words, or use everyday language or everyday English basically. And if you can do that, then it's easier to sell the course, because when they see the outline, if they don't understand it because it's too deep or too technical, how do we expect that person to buy the course? So just making sure that the course itself is really easy to understand what I'm going to get. And normally you're going to go through what is the problem you're trying to solve. So it's like a problem statement. People do not know how to film landscape sceneries, for example. I'm not a photographer, so I don't know what I'm talking about when it's just an example. But the point is that photography, let's say if that is the course, people want to know what the problem is you're trying to solve, how you're going to solve it, and what will the outcome be? Where will I end up once I've done this course? i.e. what we call success metrics? How will you measure success? So it could be that you will be able to take photographs anywhere in the world, in any weather, in any setting, at any time, i.e. sunrise, sunset, nighttime, morning, and all that. So that's the way to package it, and that also helps you to think about how to start writing the course. And then after that, the next bit I would advise is to actually start to, whether you're going to use PowerPoint or Keynote, and I've used both, PowerPoint is relatively easy, but Keynote I see has more functionality. So Keynote is the cooler, more trendier version of PowerPoint, I'd argue. It's a little bit harder sort of learning curve to get used to it, but it is common sense. The interface is quite well designed, so you can select options quite easily. But it is different to PowerPoint, and if you're used to using PowerPoint for many, many years, it is going to be a shift in terms of the learning curve. So if you want to go for Keynote, you can go for Keynote. And the good thing about Keynote is, like I said, there are much better design options, better transitions. And so from that point of view, it would be great. Now, another cheat here is to go to websites like Envato and download templates, course templates, presentation templates, and they are amazing. They have graphs ready for you, fonts ready for you, design backgrounds, everything is already done for you. I would invest, $10, $15, $20 in that rather than spending all the time yourself and not getting the layout right, because these are experts who've designed these. So if you can use those, that would be amazing. So if you go to Keynote or PowerPoint, search for those options for templates, you'll find them on many websites, and you can just buy the one off. So you can see what it looks like in a preview, and then you can buy it for $10, $15, $20, something like that. Alternatively, if you have more money, you can actually buy a monthly subscription and then try different ones. And that way you can actually get icons as well, like arrows, 3D arrows. These things make the PowerPoint presentation interesting. The last thing you want in a course, and that's just a really important reminder here, to not have bullet points and a boring presentation. Do create the course the way you would like to watch a course. Because you have to think about this. The user is going to be watching hours and hours of your videos, and they don't want to be falling asleep. We want them to be engaged and really enjoy it. So the way to enjoy it is it needs to be aesthetically pleasing. It needs to look nice. It needs to feel fresh, not the old boring PowerPoints with 10 bullet points. And each slide have one theme per slide. So just one story, as we call it. So one story per slide. Don't complicate things. Keep them really simple. And as you iterate, as you improve it, you'll start to deduct, and less is more. In design, we say less is more. So even with your slides, less is more. If you can really deduce it down to one line, literally one sentence and a nice image, and you're able to explain it, that's the way I've seen a lot of creators create new courses, and it just makes it less of a load on cognitive bearing on the person. So they don't have to take in too much, and there's not too much overload. So it can be a bit like a TED Talk. If you see a TED Talk, what do you see in TED Talks? They have just the image, and sometimes, or most of the time, they don't even have text. They just have an image. But with the course, you'll need some text. But the point is that that's a lot easier to take in the information. So remember one thing about a course, it's not about how much information you're giving them, it's about them being able to retain it, understand it, and then use it. So you could have, 200 slides, but they could be packed with bullet points, and that could be 2,000 bullet points. But realistically, can anyone remember 2,000 bullet points? So we want to really reduce that down to 200 or 300 bullet points, and then create the course from that. So it's all about being able to simplify things for the users so they can appreciate the course and enjoy it. So colors, designs, and the content itself. The next bit is when you start to create those slides from your template, just remember one thing about this. Don't worry about how much content you've got. The more content you've got, the better, because you can reduce that. But if you don't have enough content, it's harder to play around and create your course. So the more slides you can add, and you can copy paste things from Google just as a template, an idea. For example, if you wanted a definition of photography, you could take that from Google, but you wouldn't use that, as that would be plagiarism, but you would use that as an outline, and you can have a look at it and then write your own. So you can take guidance from Google, it's no problem with that. But obviously the content, the copyright, all needs to be your own. So that's why, again, going back to those templates, the images that you can buy from these websites, the stock footage, stock presentations, stock images, they are royalty free. So anything you download from there will have no copyright issues. So that's another really beneficial aspect of that. Now, when you start to put all your slides together, you're going to start to deduct rather than add more. So you can start to cut it down until it starts to form the different areas, the different modules of your course. And you'll see that come along as you start to do it. Now, one of the ways that I do that is I color code each area. So I create one slide and I give it a working name. So I'll give it a title and I'll color that slide so that I can see it when I'm looking through all my slides. And then I start to place relevant slides under those color-coded sections. For example, if it's introduction and there's, introduction to your camera, and then how does a camera work, and then how to set your camera up for, whatever climate or weather, for rainy conditions. So let's say there's 3 titles. I color code them so I can clearly see them in the panel on the left, and then I can start to drag slides in and images in. It starts to get organized in a better way so that I can start to use it and start to form my course. So that's really a simple way to start getting your course together. And as you, I would advise practically to take breaks. So even if you do an hour a day, you'll get a lot done. You'll be surprised how quickly your course will come together. Which is another question: how long does it take to create an online course? An online course can take between, I've seen 3 months up to a year, and even over a year, depending on how much time you have available and how much attention you can give it. So focus, because you really need to take breaks as well, because your mind can really get cluttered and you can get tired. So if you go for a walk, if you can go for a run or anything like that, any exercise, or just just chill and relax, your mind will reconfigure your ideas, your thoughts, and reconcile them, and you come back with an improved version of that slide. That's what I've found that really helps. It helps a lot of people. I hope this video is useful to you. I'm going to make more videos on online courses, as I see a lot of people asking for them. Don't forget, if you enjoyed this video, to press the like, subscribe, and share it with others. And I'll see you on the next one, guys. Thank you very much. This is 1UX1. Take care.